Hey, it's Ben here. About 8 days ago, I was blessed with the birth of my son. And I'm always reminded of just how much of a wonderful blessing children are to us. And it made me really think about men. And there's so much to say on this topic. But I wanted to really just share this because it's heavy on my heart. I watched my wife carry my son for 9 months. She had a few issues with that. That made it very uncomfortable, and it was difficult for her for those 9 months of carrying my child. She then went through the process of labour, birthing my child, and now she has the job of waking up every 2 hours to feed her from her own body. And basically that child will be with her for the next 2 or 3 years at least, where she can't be out of her sight. What really dawned on me is how, as a man, there is very little that we can really do. And even when we try our very hardest, there's still so little that we can do. But the issue that I really felt is the fact that most men out there aren't trying their hardest. It's kind of like, as a man, we get our sexual pleasure, and that's our job done. But that's wrong, man. Like, we need to step our game up, you know? We can't use excuses about, that's all I know, or I'm not really in touch with my feelings, or that's woman's work. That's garbage, man. That's honestly garbage. As a man, it's our duty to look after our family. And you could be a stay-at-home dad, your partner could be earning all the money. I'm not getting at you like that. That's cool, I've got no problem with that. But the fact of the matter is that women break themselves to give birth. And then they're expected to do everything and look after the child and everything. And then on top of that, they're expected to do the cooking and the cleaning and everything. That's messed up, man. We can do so much better than that. For me personally, I'm in debt to my wife. Seeing my wife give birth and what she went through, I'm in debt to her for what she has accomplished, what she went through. The other day I heard a lady tell me that her partner came through in the middle of labour and said, "Is it done yet?" The baby wasn't there, so he left and went and bought some cigarette papers or something. That's a cop-out, man. So you're telling me like you're like man enough to like have sex with your wife, but you're not man enough to be there to support her in the greatest hour of need because it might scar you or something? That's messed up, man. Do you know that God says in Genesis, the first book of the Bible, he says that a man and a wife will become one flesh. So when we, what the Bible calls, when we have intercourse with our partner, what we're doing is we're becoming one body. And that's made more apparent when that one body is actually formed as a child. How are we supposed to like say that we're men, but we don't even care for our own flesh, our own body? Genesis says, therefore a man will, this is Genesis 2:24. Therefore a man will leave his father and his mother and cling to his wife, and they will become one flesh. If you're not looking after your wife, you're not looking after yourself. Simple as that. If you're only looking after yourself, you're only looking after half of yourself. Real talk. If you're not willing to support your wife, support a woman through this whole ordeal, you shouldn't be willing to sleep with her. Period. End of story. Because when you do that, you become one flesh. It also says in Ephesians 5:25, it says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ has also loved the church and gave himself up for it. Really? How am I supposed to do that? If we look at the narrative of Jesus Christ dying on a cross, being crucified for hours, some scholars say 6 hours hanging on a cross, after being beaten to near death. He did that for his church. What are we doing to support our wives? And look, to my people out there that are listening, if you're a Christian for real, listen to this, right? Because this should strike a chord with you. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, if any provideth not for his own, and especially his own household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. That word there, unbeliever, in the original Greek is the word apistos. I can't speak Greek. Apistos say it's pistos. It's apistos. The reason I say that is when you look that word up for other other uses of that word throughout the Bible, it's found in Revelations 21:8. Now, Revelation 21:8 is a verse where it says about who will be thrown in the lake of fire and who will not. The very same word that is used here to describe people that don't provide for their own family as unbelievers, it actually says you are worse than an unbeliever, is the same word that is used to describe who will be thrown in the lake of fire. If you're a Christian man, you better take this seriously, for real. What this is telling us is that if you do not love your family, if you are not bending over backwards to provide and support your wife, you're worse than an unbeliever. And if you think that like your job is an excuse, or you think that your social life is an excuse, then you've missed the whole point. Imagine if Christ didn't die on the cross for us because he had too much of a social life, or he wanted to go to work, or he wanted to get that money. Providing for your family is more than just money. Providing for your family is teaching your child the importance of respecting their mother, the importance of respecting women, and even furthermore, the importance of respecting themselves enough to call themselves a man. And let me tell you, if you're not willing to support your family, if you're not willing to be down for your whānau, you're not a man, you're a punk. The Bible says you're worse than an unbeliever. I wish I could do more for my wife, and I'm so far from perfect. I fall short all the time when it comes to providing for her, But when you see the trauma and drama that your wife goes through just to bring forth the seed, that should make you feel in debt, because you are. Basically what I'm trying to say is, listen, if you're a man, if you consider yourself a man, then man up. We can blame whatever we want. We can blame it on society. We can talk about all types of, my father wasn't there, or I never had a role model. Well, that's your choice. You can either say, I never had a role model, so my seed won't, or you can say, I never had a role model, I'm going to make sure my seed does. Our partners, our wives are royalty. They should be treated like it. And quit worrying about how she's treating you. You can't control her, you can only control yourself. You give everything for your wife and let God take care of the rest. Because at the end of the day, the reason we've got all this madness and kids kicking up dust, causing trouble, no respect for anybody, has a lot to do with the fact that men won't stand up and be a man. They didn't choose to be born, you chose to lay down with that woman. When you choose to lay down with that woman, then you choose to raise up whatever child might be a consequence of that. Much love and respect to everybody out there, for real. I know it's a bit of a heavy topic, but real. We're going to stand up, man. All my real men, be proud. Start posting up stuff on Facebook about you and your child, because that's our future. That's your blood, your next generation. All right. God bless. Yahweh Gadol.